The first thing is that people often become very myopic, and I use the metaphor of a cornfield. So if you're down in a cornfield looking down one row, all you see is your own point of view, your own interests, your own wants, your own needs, what you think the solution is to the problem. And people have a hard time getting out of their own corn row and getting above the cornfield to be able to see the whole of the situation. So that's number one. Number two is they lack trust of other people. And again, in organizations, I think this is more true than a lot of other situations. There's fear or a feeling that if I try to be cooperative, or if I try to find solutions that are good for all of us, as opposed to fighting for myself, that I'm going to be taken advantage of, or I'm going to be seen as weak. And that, of course, is reinforced in some organizations in which there's what we call a culture of competition, where, not to say that competition isn't good. In some situations, their competition can be a great thing. And sometimes we apply it in ways where it's not so great, where we encourage people to try to dominate each other and be right and do what they think is winning, as opposed to trying to find the solution that really is good for everybody. Another thing that gets in the way is how people manage their emotions. And again, I'm not saying that emotions are bad. Obviously, we need our emotions, and there are many ways in which emotions serve us very well. They help us be compassionate and caring and connected to one another and so forth. However, when we allow our emotions to control our behavior as opposed to vice versa, sometimes emotions really get in the way of being able to find mutually beneficial solutions. When we're in the midst of resolving differences, what we're doing is problem solving. And problem solving is probably the highest level thinking that human beings have to do. When we're in states of highly aroused emotions, typically our ability to problem solve is really compromised. And being able to not allow our emotions to dictate our behavior is an important skill. There's a phrase, emotional intelligence, which I suspect a lot of your listeners have heard. That is a set of skills that is really one of the keys to being able to do what we're talking about. So managing emotions and not managing emotions can become an obstacle. And just lack of skill is another thing that gets in the way. People typically haven't been taught and don't necessarily naturally have the skills that are requisite to being able to do what we're talking about. So all of those things conspire together to get in the way. And really, all of these skills are learnable. And in fact, we do get along with each other for the most part in our lives, but sometimes we allow ourselves to get all wrapped up in our own needs and wants and interests and emotions and lose perspective and lose the ability to think rationally and behave rationally.